on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now.
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, we are back with another deck, and a deck that I've really been enjoying. It's not the most complicated deck, and it does have a few issues going into boards, but nonetheless it's still a very strong deck for what can be considered heavily rogue. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. Now, I know that you've obviously seen the thumbnail, so I'm not going to pretend like you don't know what it is that I'm profiling, but we have got Shining Sarcophagus here, and obviously the starter of the deck, your main normal summon, is going to be Gadget Trio. It gets you play started. There's like 9 starters in this deck, and this is one of them. He searches a spell or trap that mentions Shining Sarcophagus or Shining Sarcophagus itself. So really strong card. If it's popped and you've got a target in your deck, you can actually set the Stronghold Hidden Fortress. I have messed about with that card, but it is a bit hit and miss. Like, if you're just going for all out full on gimmick, then go for it. But in my opinion, it can actually just clog up your deck, especially with a few bricks, when the deck is consistent, but it's not that powerful. So you typically just want to see starters and some kind of like interaction for your opponent, maybe a hand trap or like something to kind of like blow away your opponent's back row or something like that. So yeah, triple Gadget Trio. Alongside double Silent Magician 0 and 1 Silent Swordsman 0. Silent Swordsman's interesting. Is the only one that works without Shining Sarcophagus on the field. So if you've got him on the field and another monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus, he can actually prevent it from being targeted, as well as Shining Sarcophagus itself. So quite an interesting effect, but is probably the worst one to draw. It doesn't really do much. He does gain a level every standby phase and gets pretty big over time, but that's not really gonna like happen consistently. Whereas Silent Magician 0 is probably your better one, just because it's a spell negate, which obviously spells are very heavy in the meta, as well as it being able to just increase its level and gain attack for each level it's increased by 500 when your opponent draws a card. And you can actually, there's actually a bit of a quirky little gimmick in order to like get this card's attack to like 3,500 or maybe even like 4,000 plus. So it is an interesting card, but more so for its negation effect. Yeah. Next, we've got one of the newest additions, which is Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Chaos. Very strong card, allows you to search out one of them, a card that mentions Dark Magician on its destruction. If there's a level 5 or higher monster on the field, it summons itself back, sets a card, and then you can just continue your plays. Quite useful. I know there's been a few quirky things where people have been playing Hope Harvey during their deck, because you can use this alongside Gandora to kind of like facilitate and negate, but I'm kind of playing it as more of a pure version. I just like to have him on field and then potentially just go into Dragoon. I'm also playing 1 Archfiend's Advent. This card's nice. It's not the most strongest, but going second, it can actually be a problem. It can force out a negate, and if you've got this and you've got like a Fenrir on board as well, like, it can be pretty oppressive, to be fair, and it forces your opponent to interact because it's basically like a mind control for the turn. So yeah, very interesting. Then your win condition, ladies and gents, Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction. This card's sick. Like, when you resolve this card, the adrenaline rush that you get from just nuking everything on the field and then special summoning a monster, it feels really good. And you can force your opponent to banish stuff as well. Obviously there's a card in the deck that allows you to do that. I'm pretty sure you know what that is by now, but him getting just really big for no reason is also another thing that I quite like, because you can just swing for game. Like, it's not even a joke, especially with Archfiend's Advent on the field. If you've got Advent, Gandora, probably like 1 or 2 more monsters, if you're taking anything, for example, that your monsters just get huge and you just kill your opponent. So I do really enjoy Gandora. You do need to play 2. You can't get away with 1, unfortunately, just because sometimes it doesn't resolve and you need to be able to do it again. So 2 seems to be like the optimal number. Next, on to the Shining Sarcophagus Powers and Traps. We have got triple Shining Sarcophagus. Your whole deck revolves around this, so you need to play 3. Its secondary effects to send a monster to the graveyard by pitching a spell doesn't come up that much. But not being able to be destroyed by card effects or monster effects and being able to search is just like really crucial. Again, this can be a starter, can also be an extender as well, so this is just like double the value basically. Next, we're on Triple Future Silence. I was trying to get away with 2 of this, but I realized you need 3. It's a consistency card. It's a quick play searcher. You can just shotgun it in the draw phase. It's got Silent Magician on it because, like I was saying earlier, you can force your opponent to draw. You can actually force your opponent to draw until they've got 6 cards in their hand, which will make your Silent Magician 0 like super huge. But you don't really want to give your opponent any draws, so you're not really looking to resolve that. I have done it a few times. Just to kind of like cheese my opponent, and you can catch them off guard if you haven't used this, but nonetheless, it's just consistency. It's a quick play searcher, so what more can you say? Something which is not common is the triple turn silence. Now the reason I open triple is because I kind of want to open this alongside Shining Sarcophagus. It's a negate if you chain it in, if you've got a monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus on the field as well as Shining Sarc. If you activate it in response to an opponent's monster effect. So it doesn't destroy, just negates, and it boosts the level of the monster that you've targeted on your side of the field by 3. So you can actually make some of you like smaller Shining Sarcophagus monsters just get big for no reason. So yeah, I really like that aspect. And this card just cooks Tempai. Like, just banish it from graveyard during damage step and it just ends the battle phase, like done. No more Tempai shenanigans. So I do like that. The card that you do want to search is Ties That Bind. I'll do a little test hand after the profile, and you can kind of see like I always like to kind of like prioritize searching Ties That Bind, just because you just get 2 bodies for free, and those bodies are live going into the next turn. They're live straight away, so yeah, I do like Ties That Bind. And that's it for the engine, ladies and gents. Pretty small, pretty concise. Onto the non-engine monsters, we've got not 1, not 2, but 3. Triple Fenrir, yeah, goes without saying, Fenrir's Fenrir. Sometimes you need an extra card in your hand for the Dragoon negate, as well as Fenrir just by itself being a strong card. Can put pressure on the board, it can carry games by itself, so yeah, Triple Fenrir. Triple Shifter of the Dimension, Shifter of the Day, Dimension Shifter. This is not a shifter deck, but it can play Dimension Shifter. It doesn't really get hurt by the cards in its graveyard, just being there, because you can't actually like use those resources again effectively. The only thing that it conflicts with is turn silence, and to be honest, if you've seen Dimension Shift and you can resolve it, it's probably gonna like help you win the game anyway, just because of the nature of Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment. So Triple Dimension Shifter, I do think this card needs to be addressed on the ban list, and I feel like it will. But I do also think that it's probably not the time to do so, because if this card does not exist and Snake Eye Fiendsmith does exist, it's going to be a problem. So yeah, Triple Dimension Shifter goes without saying. Next on for some more generic utility, Triple Ash Blossom. Yep, Ash is Ash, you know what it goes. Triple Infinite Impermanence, again, just a nice form of negation. You cannot, even though I'm only playing 9 hand traps, ladies and gents, it's not a lot of hand traps in this day and age of Yu-Gi-Oh, but you have to have something to stop your opponent. Like, you can't just play board breakers, because you will just get FTK'd. It's like, it's absolutely ridiculous. There are obviously going to be times that you can get away with it, but for the most part, you need to slow your opponent down with something. So I feel like hand traps is the way to go, to be honest. I'm also playing there can be only 1. Our deck doesn't, we can play under this pretty easily in Shining Sarcophagus, and it's an easy side out, but it's an easy like game 1 win if you see it and you resolve it. So like, seeing this card is that powerful, it can just win you the game, so you actually just want to just put it in your deck. So yeah, and that's it for the monsters. On to just the last of the generic spells. We are playing not 1, not 2, but Triple Extrav. I like that Extrav. Like, arguably Prosperity is a lot better. You get to see exactly what you're looking for. You don't just get 2 random cards. But in this deck where you need resources, I feel like Extrav is a little bit better, because like, your deck doesn't put up a lot of, it doesn't swarm the field basically, and you're trying to dig and look for hand traps. So yeah, Extrav is needed. Alongside Core by the Grave, Harpy's Feather Duster, and obviously these Secrets of Dark Magic. Now, you can seldom draw into these, especially with the Part of Extravagance, which is really, really nice. You don't need your extra deck all that much. You do need to obviously resolve your Secrets of Dark Magic, so Dragoon is going to be like probably one of the cards that you're going to the most, but for the most part, I found these to be solid. Next, on to the extra deck. Now, the extra deck is a little bit of a mixed bag, to be honest, because I was playing Ultimate Slayer in the main deck, and I decided to take it out just because I wanted to put it in the side, which I've done, and it does come up from that from time to time. But this extra deck can be changed. Just change it to your liking, ladies and gents. So I'm running 3 Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, obviously because of extra. I don't really want to just banish all my Dragoons, and not being able to resolve Secrets of Dark Magic is just not the way forward. Running double Entity Entis, again, Slayer target, pops, you know how it is, not once per turn. 1 Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, just for another option. Sometimes you don't want to pop straight away, you want to like hold the resources in graveyard, so that's where Skull Knight comes in. But most of the time you just get to hit off extra because it just doesn't like being in my extra deck. 1 Garura Wings of Resonant Life, again, you just want to draw, sometimes it can get you back into the game. 1 golden, actually not 1 but 2 Golden Cloud Beast Malung. Could potentially take 1 more of these out and put something more utility wise in, like Celine or Access Cold Talker, but I found these to be fine, to be honest, just because Ultimate Slayer is not once per turn, and it has actually won me quite a few games, ladies and gents. For the links, small Slayer targets, we have got the Tri-Brigade Ferrigate, the Baron Blossom, as well as the Tri-Brigade Arms Bucephalus. I'd love to just actually summon this properly, but yeah, it's Tri-Brigade stuff. 1 Nightmare Unicorn, this does come up from time to time, as well as 1 Line of the Light Charmer, and 4 XYZs, or just another Slayer target, 1 Mirror Logic Aggregator for those pesky XYZ decks, as well as the Ultimate Slayer, just because Slayer is actually pretty strong. You can actually just like take one of your opponent's monsters and then just overlay Slayer onto it if you go in second. So I do think Slayer is good in that regard, so definitely thingy. But this extra deck it's not needed. It could be a lot better, and I'm sure that you can optimize it a lot more than what I have done. But like I said, most of these just get banished off extra anyway, so yeah, it is what it is. And that is it, ladies and gents. Like I said, I'm going to give you a quick test hand. You can see the deck functioning. I do really like it. I've got a lot of positive things to say about this deck. It's not the most powerful, but yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, let's get into the test hand. Okay, ladies and gents, just shuffling up, we have got our extra deck here. Let's see what we can do. And like I said, like, this deck is by no means gonna like win you a regional. It probably could come close in certain circumstances, but for the most part, it's just a fun deck that you could potentially take to locals, and still quite a few wins. Now, the last couple of times I've taken it, I've gone like X1 and X2. I've managed to finish like 3rd in a like 30-man local. I finished 7th in a 28-man local. Like, this deck has been serving me well, and it's a surprise factor of how much this deck can actually do. It's not the strongest deck, but like the negates that it can put out, especially if your opponent's blown a few hand traps or used a few interactions on your turn while she's setting up, it can actually be pretty oppressive to play through. So that's us shuffled up. So let's split the deck and let's draw 5 cards and see what's popping, and I will showcase what you can do with this deck. So 1 Gadget Trio, that's always nice to see. 1 D-Shifter, oh my gosh. Secrets of Dark Magic, don't really want to see that. There can be only 1, which is nice, as well as Pot of Extravagance. All right, we are cooking, ladies and gents. So standby phase, obviously we're going to shotgun a shift that, and that is just going to end somebody's career going 1st or 2nd. If we were going 1st, obviously main phase, we would activate our Pot of Extravagance and we will banish 6 cards. Let's just shuffle these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not even going to look at them, ladies and gents, and then draw 2. Now bear in mind, because I'm banishing cards, Gandora is just actually getting boosted by his attack, so he's pretty strong at the moment. So we're not going to get Drilled, we're not going to get Veiled, and we've already found a Future Silence. So in this instance, I would actually shotgun the Future Silence to search again, and we're probably going to grab, go and grab our Gandora. Now this is dependent on where you're going, ladies and gents. Like, but as you can see, my hand is like super strong for going 1st. Like, this is crazy. So Gandora's in hand now. Future Silence gets banished. It's a shame at the way because there's a little bit of conflict. Obviously, Turn Silence can't activate engrave. Well, it doesn't activate, but you just do it whenever you're ready. But Turn Silence can't be engraved. So against a 10-pie matchup, it might be a little bit difficult because you can't actually just end the battle phase. But you've got enough here to be able to do what you're doing. So in this instance, I'd normal summon Gadget Trio, activate Gadget Trio's effect, and I'm searching my Shining Sarcophagus. Now it's a shame that I didn't actually see Ties That Bind because you're at a bit of a junction here. So activate my Shining Sarcophagus, and you can activate its effect to search. Now it searches one card that mentions Shining Sarcophagus, monster or trap or spell. So you've got quite a few options here. But in this instance, I'm just gonna go and grab myself the Ties That Bind. Now, this is the play here, ladies and gents. You need to think about really what you want to do here. So, if you want to overextend, we can actually special summon our Gandora. And then we can use Gandora's effect to nuke the field. So it's going to just blow up basically the Gadget Trio. And then you can special summon the Dark Magician from the deck. And that will give you access to Dragoon because we've hard drawn the Secrets of Dark Magic, so it's not actually too much of a problem. So Dragoon can actually be live. However, if you want to go for a little bit more of a conservative play and just hold the Gandora until the next turn, you can leave Gadget Trio there. You can activate Ties That Bind, which special summons 2 from the deck. And in this instance, you're always going to go for, seeing as we haven't hard drawn them, the Silent Magician 0 as well as the Silent Swordsman 0. Now you can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, which is fine because we don't need to. And this just helps you play under nib, to be honest. And looking at our hand, ladies and gents, we've got Infinite Impermanence, and there can be only one. And if you look at our field, we have got a warrior, a machine, and a spellcaster. So TCB is live. We are good to go. We've got a spell negate, we've got a targeted negate, we've got infinite impermanence, we've got a there can be only one. Our opponent's going to find it very, very difficult to play through this field, ladies and gents. And then obviously on the follow-up as well, we've got a Shining Sarcophagus search as well as the Gandora in hand. So like I said, a couple of decision trees there, but I feel like that's probably the best way to go about it, rather than just turbo into Dragoon, because yes, Dragoon is a negate, it's hard to get rid of, but most meta decks now can just get rid of a Dragoon. It's not that difficult. So I feel like this is probably a little bit more just because of the targeted effects. So yeah, ladies and gents, that is just a little bit of what the deck can do. I really do enjoy this deck. It's a whole lot of fun, and I feel like that's what's been missing from Yu-Gi-Oh! Most recently, just because of the way that the meta has been going, and people have just been complaining about how things have been going with regards to like Yu-Gi-Oh! But Shining Sarcophagus will win you some games. But if there's anything that you feel like I should have changed in this deck, or going through the test hand, ladies and gents, definitely let me know in that comment section below. Always open to ideas and texts and trends and all that kind of stuff. But we find ourselves at the end of another video. If you did enjoy this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.